I have been asked which of my projects or inventions is the best or most inspired, which is an extremely imprecise question and is actually technically four questions in one. So I'll split the difference and answer it twice. As for which project I feel was the most inspired, I would say that the gown that I wore to the Welcome Back to School ball this summer is probably one of my finest works when it comes to sartorial elegance. I put a special artificing charm on the skirt that gave me lights, and I have since improved it to give a slight lift to the dress with a mist and a wind. It gives even more grace and elegance to the affair. It makes one look as if one were fair floating, and if one moves with as much grace as I do, then it is an excellent nod to, let's say, mythological creatures, or perhaps real creatures that don't particularly belong in a ballroom, but I suppose their aesthetics are fine on the floor. I'm very fond of it, and I do think that I will be putting out some sort of fashion line in the near future. I think artificial clothes are probably the future, or at least the near future, for those who are, let's just say, those who can afford them. Now, as for what invention I think is best, I think that also came from this year. One does one's best work in the present, of course. I put together a design that was meant to be included in a very particular project that never got off the ground, but I would like to work with certain corporations to see if there will be folks who would be interested in releasing it to the general public. This invention itself puts a slight vibration and a aerosolization onto many potions. It does so in such a way that it will allow potions to be administered long distance in an entire room at a time. This can be extremely useful. Potions that used to have to be ingested and would be nearly impossible to feed to someone who, well, might not be in a fit state to take it, are now very simple. Put the box in the room, cast the charm, and allow the healing to work. Now, personally, I think that this will mostly be used for healing. It was originally designed not just to dose a single person, but to dose an entire room. So imagine an outbreak of a particularly virulent disease. Enough potion can be administered remotely through this artifice design without actually risking the infection of the healers. Now, there are people who, let's say, they might use this more nefariously. Let us say, for instance, that there's a certain type of individual, one that is known to be violent, particularly on certain times of the month, under certain moons, and one would like to stop that particular frame of violence. Well, I should think that they will thank you in the end for curing them of that particular affliction, even if they are a bit outraged at the beginning. I'm not to say, of course, that one would ever do it without express consent, but I am saying that, well, sometimes one does not know what is best for one. Sometimes one's family knows much better. Now, as for things that I would like to invent, well, I'm not a healer, but I have a deep tie to those who are afflicted by, let's just say, addictive substances. It's happened to many friends of mine, and it's quite terrible, I must admit. If one doesn't have the willpower to let go, well, then one must use magic to let go, I think. And until that time, those individuals are going to be institutionalized, and well, it's a shame. It really is. I think curing those sorts of addictions, or at least controlling the frustration that comes from them, I think that should be, well, I'm shocked it hasn't come up yet. I'm shocked that the healers are much more interested in forcing someone to go through that struggle alone, pushing them through doing it of their own willpower, when, as we all know, there's so many witches and wizards and magicians out there who don't have much willpower in the first place. How can you expect them to do better? Well, I think I don't regret becoming an artificier instead of a healer, but I do think that my next year of study is going to be on that intersection. And I do hope I can cure many people of their afflictions very soon. It's a kindness, really. I hear they just sainted Mother Teresa finally. Isn't that interesting?